away the lead.
Okay.
Welcome. You're listening to the Best of Investing on News Talk 910. If you've been listening to our show for a while, you know it's where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. For those of you listening for the first time, here's our format. A few guys sitting around a bar having drinks without the drinks, talking business with you, the audience listening in. And I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm pleased to have as my co-host Mark Humph of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing private lender, and Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage. Good afternoon. Okay, our phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down, 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. You got it. We're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are sponsored by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com, and they now have kayak rentals there. And if you mention our show, you get a little discount. And you can reach them at 916-777-5511. And today's trivia theme is, where did they come from? You'll understand when you hear the questions. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. And we're also on television, Comcast Channel 26 on Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 6 p.m. And Robert, you had some excellent articles to discuss with us today.
Well, I had an argument with someone a couple of weeks ago about the government bailout of the auto industry, and we both realized that neither of us really had any facts as to what really happened. So
It was just emotion?
Cars for Clunkers?
Yes,
Yeah.
Cars for Clunkers. So I've been reading a book by somebody that's in administration and totally involved in all of it, and it's just fascinating for all the personalities that went into this and all the thought that went into it and how big it was and how nobody really knew what was going on and how it would end up.
And how did it end up?
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
But,
I thought that was the end of it.
No. They were banning about the possibilities of bankruptcy for General Motors and Chryslers and to bail them out, whether to bail them out and you'd spend government money, which means taxpayers' money, and then
If they had that back in the late 70s, early 80s, where
Chrysler.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
remember telling my dad, I go, they're not going to let Chrysler go out of business. There's too many employees.
Well, they were very close to letting Chrysler go out of business this time. In fact, they got to the point very close that they saw the only viable way to make General Motors successful was to let Chrysler go bankrupt, or for General Motors to take over part of Chrysler. And what amazes me, one step back from all that insider information, is how suddenly, 2 years later, Chrysler was making these fabulous cars, General Motors was making fabulous cars, and apparently they are good cars and good value.
Didn't they pay back those loans already?
Well, Ford never got a loan. Chrysler has paid back most of their loan, and General Motors hasn't, and the government owns a bunch of stock, and if it ever gets up to, I think, $35 a share, they can sell out and get their money back, but of course they couldn't sell out because then with the depreciation.
Oh, yeah, they have too many shares of that.
Yes.
I wonder what percentage they own.
I think it was, I just saw that I think it's about 30%.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they can't sell 30%.
So that'd be an example of a
They-
success story of government intervention. I mean, wouldn't it? I mean, as
Yeah.
opposed to if we
Well-
got into a conversation about bailing out the banks, I think I might have another point of view.
Well,
on
no,
that one.
because some of the
Well,
banks
that-
paid their money back, too, with interest, didn't they?
Well, AIG, the insurance company too, and they
Yeah.
they had to act so quickly, and the ramifications. I mean, if General Motors went down, that would be so many people would be on unemployment, so many people would lose their houses. The spread of that tidal wave would be
I mean,
huge.
a bailout to me means that money is given but not paid back. I mean, really, all it was a loan.
Yes,
And
yeah.
that's okay. I mean, the government has SBA loans, too.
But they were worried that they might, that it was amazing figures. General Motors and Chrysler were losing $1 billion a month. I could never figure
Pocket
out.
change.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Was it a billion here, a billion there? Eventually, it'll be more money.
Yeah, that's what Congress says.
Eventually, it's $1 trillion.
That's it. I'll worry when it gets to a quadrillion.
So, and then I watched the debate, and I couldn't quite figure out who was saying what by the time it was over. So,
Yeah, we had that debate this. Well, you have to read the news the next day to be told who won.
Yeah.
Because I watched it too, and it wasn't really obvious to me that anybody won. It's just, you watch the TV and their lips are moving, and it's almost like when you talk to your dog and all your dog hears is blah 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 spot, blah 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 spot.
I don't know. I was watching episodes of Father Knows Best.
Oh, much better timing.
Yeah, I just can't get into. Seriously, I just could not even watch these debates.
I was going
can't
to,
either.
and I could not watch it. There's three of us saying that, and yet everybody was glued to their TV to watch what. I just didn't get it. There was nothing coming out.
Well,
of that.
isn't it kind of funny too how each side, when the Democrats and the Republicans are sitting, their supporters are watching, and they're both saying, "Oh my gosh, our candidate won."
Yeah.
I mean, how can it be? At least at a football game, you can kind of see the score. Maybe they should do that. They should have a tally. Like, don't they do that?
Well, they did have some kind of graph thing going
Oh,
on. I mean,
yeah.
I was at a
Little
hotel watching it
meter.
on CNN, and everybody in the bar hotel lobby thing was like glued to the TV, listening to these guys, and I was half listening, but I was actually looking more at the mechanics of the on the TV screen that had this little graph thing that was different colors depending on who was measuring their
But-
responses to who was
But
talking.
unless you're wearing an
Was-
EKG,
I know,
where it's
Was
measuring.
this,
I don't
was
know
this
how it was.
from people calling in, or?
Yeah.
I don't know what I think. I'm sure they had a test audience that was like wired up.
Something, yeah. If your blood pressure boils up, and that triggers it.
So that's
But-
how the unemployment got under 8%. They hired all these people to watch the debates and tweet in their responses. So they
That's
could
right.
get
That was the
graph.
big news of the
Yeah,
week is
that was
the
the-
unemployment rate.
But wait, I
went
got a
down.
question about that. Do they count jobs that go to government? I mean, if the government hires a whole bunch of people now that they're not out of work and they're working,
I think they must have hired a bunch of people to see if the job rate was going to go under 8% or not.
well, like
and
you said,
that's how it went.
at 7.8, 7.9% was manipulated, but 7.8%
Yes,
is not.
everybody knew it was going to go under 8 to 7.9, and so.
But
isn't
isn't that
that
a coincidence?
amazing?
It's at a 44-month low. It's very coincidental. It happened a month before the election.
But it is amazing that the stock market is also at a 4-year high. That must indicate something has turned around in those 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, usually the old days it used to be the stock market was ahead of the economy about 18 months. But the other thing is if you're working part-time and making much less than you used to make, you're still employed. But the problem is, how much does that affect the GDP?
Yeah.
Well, they also talked about the underemployment rate. So
Yeah,
people
exactly.
who are working and making considerably less, or then there's the rate that isn't measured, which is stopped looking.
They're no longer unemployed.
But,
Yeah.
but those people who stop looking, how do they live from day to day? Are they living with mom and dad, that sort of thing?
They might, or their spouse has somebody else in the family is helping support. We have someone at work, and their husband worked for Fireman Funds for 26 years and got tapped on the shoulder one day, and he was watching it happen around. Now, here's a guy in IT for 26 years, faithful to one company, and it's hard for him to find a replacement job. For
After 26 years, though, does he have a nice pension?
I don't think so.
Define
I don't
nice.
know.
Yeah, that's true.
One that exists.
Right.
All right, guys, we are going to go to a first commercial break here, and the trivia.
I meant to interrupt.
Go ahead, go ahead.
At the beginning, you said I thought I heard you say we prevent valuable information. I'm
I
sure you meant
almost did.
present.
Yes, I almost did say that. I
Prevent
caught
valuable
myself.
information.
Yeah, we don't worry. We don't prevent valuable information. Okay, here's our first trivia question. And again, the theme is where did they come from? So, Steve Young from the 49ers, right? We all know that. But what NFL team did he come from? And before that, he was with the USFL, but he went to don't say anything. He went to the NFL, and he went to a team, then he went to the 49ers. The first three callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Check them out. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. We all know Steve Young came from the 49ers, or played with the 49ers, but what NFL team did he come from? 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, email address, and speak slowly, and please spell out your email for us one letter at a time, and speak slowly, please. And we will be right back.
Was it a Florida team?
No.
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah, it was the Tampa Bay Yucks.
No.
That's what they
And
call
where
it back
was
then anyway.
where was he in the USFL?
He was
Oh
that's,
boy, that one I don't remember.
oh, if I heard the name, I recall.
That's what I say about my wife.
You say what?
Wait, Lisa, no.
If I heard her name, I'd recall her. The two guys are sitting in the living room watching TV.
Recorded. Yeah, go ahead.
And no,
Go ahead.
and he goes, "How do you feel?" Well, I'm not so good, but so my memory's fading a little bit, but I think I'm taking these pills and it's a lot better. And what are the pills called? And he said, "Well, wait a minute. What's that red flower called? You know, the red flower?" And he said, "You mean a rose?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Rose, what's that pill I'm taking called?"
Guys.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, it was.
They existed for a few years.
Yeah, I had a friend that did them.
Really?
Yeah, for the Oakland Express.
Now arena football instead.
Yeah, which is kind of fun. I kind of like the idea of kicking off and then you can hit it against the back screen and still play off of it. And get these 70-yard touchdowns because that's all it is 70 yards.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
They used to call them the Nucks.
No, the Tampa Bay Yucks.
Tampa Bay Yucks because they were that
The
bad.
Bucks. The Bucks were the Yucks.
Yeah, they had. I like the helmet that they have now
Yeah.
compared to the other one was kind of silly. But,
All right.
you guys are okay. And when we cut back, you want to get into like the regulations, real estate
a little
regulations?
bit.
Well, I really don't, but we will. Okay. I got to announce the trivia winner here too. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my co-host Mark Hoff of Pacific Private Money and Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage. When we got to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question, and again, the theme was, where did they come from? We all know Steve Young from the 49ers, but what NFL team did he come from? Gentlemen?
That'd be the Tampa Bay Bucks.
The Tampa Bay
Who
Buccaneers.
were called the Tampa Bay Yucks back then because they were so terrible.
That's when they start off 0-13?
Well, I don't know if they had quite that bad. But
Oh yeah, they were back in '76. I think was
that it?
So he chose to sit on the bench and learn from someone rather than be with a team that was going nowhere.
But yeah,
Smart
but
decision.
in his case, it really was a smart decision. And really quickly here, we last week we had a special trivia contest where we asked almost 70% of these are owned by women. What are they? And
Earrings.
Earrings. Actually, that probably would have been smart. No, the answer was home-based businesses. And our winner was Rick from Pleasant Hill, and he won an overnight stay at the Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn. And
Lucky guy.
Yeah, lucky guy.
I love that place.
For over 85 years, the Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn and Spa has catered to discriminating travelers and has given prestige to the Sonoma Valley. Known for casually elegant accommodations, sensational cuisine, healing thermal mineral waters, luxurious spa treatments, and world-class golf. The inn will soon unveil 30 newly renovated signature mission suites along with a premier winemaker suite aptly titled the Jack London. From the moment guests arrive, they will find themselves immersed in the grace befitting one of Northern California's finest resorts. Building on the inn's historic legacy inspired the design plan, the new suites will respect the inn's mission-style architecture, successfully capturing the essence of beauty and wine country. Check them out at www.fairmont.com/Sonoma.
I had one of those hot stone massages there one time. You ever had one of those?
No, I haven't.
They're like, I'm not so sure I really like it. And some people love it, but it's just they put these super hot rocks on your back after they kind of like, put the oil on and massage you a little bit. All of a sudden,
I like a Swedish massage myself.
Swedish.
Yeah.
You like women Swedish.
Yeah. Robert, you had also some kind of interesting thing about real estate regulations. regulations.
Yes, we had notifications about a mortgage broker, and RPM is a mortgage bank, actually one of the biggest in the Bay Area and in California, and we have to watch and see what different rules and regulations are coming down the pike.
You mean more coming on?
Oh,
Yeah, we don't have enough.
In addition to the 200 new
well,
ones they put
how
in?
do you think we got under 8% employment? The government hired a bunch of people to watch out to make sure
See,
the
that's what I said.
regulations
How much of it
are
was private
Uh,
sector and how much was
yes.
government
So,
sector?
so what are they talking about now bringing on board?
Well, we got notification that they're going into mortgage brokers and mortgage banks, and not so much the big banks, and
Of course not.
doing auditing and just being what they're looking for. Not so much. This is from an insider's point of view. They're looking not so much to make sure that there are mistakes. They're looking to make money for the auditing part of the government.
Oh, so they're going to
They can
audit you
earn
and
their
then
salary.
bill you
Charge
for
you
it.
for it.
Yes.
And even though there's nothing that they're really specifically looking for, or thinking you did
Well,
anything wrong.
we got notification that if you're working in your office, make sure that every file is in a locked cabinet.
Yeah.
And if you have to go out of your office, even to the bathroom, your office has to be locked and your computer has to be shut down.
So that in case someone just shows up,
I
they
guess
have
it's
the
privacy
authority
issues.
to,
Yes, yeah.
well, privacy from the government? I didn't think there was
No,
such a thing.
privacy about exposed
Privacy
social
from-
security
Oh,
numbers or
yeah.
credit
Privacy
reports.
I
from-
thought it was in case the feds came in to make sure they don't look at your
Oh,
computer.
that's interesting. Privacy from the government.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
the-
exactly.
that's the new policy.
Well, it's sort of like in some of these counties where the fire marshal, one of the things that they did was they said, okay, you have to have a 5-year certification to make sure that sprinklers are working. And they realized, we're not making enough money from this, so we're going to do it annually. Then they go, well, we're still not making enough money, so now they have to do it quarterly. Soon it's going to have to be hourly. I mean, you got to get those pensions up, right?
Yeah, they'll have to have well, let's see, you have more than 3 employees, so you have to have somebody from the fire department full-time with you. Check to make sure the sprinklers are working.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Robert, are you familiar with this week there was the article about the new banking settlement and some of the new regulations taking effect there? I read, all I read was as far as 200 new regulations that are now going to be implemented for like the top big 5 banks, and that's all I could stand by.
No,
My eyes
I-
just glazed over
No,
right
I
away.
haven't,
I got
but
depressed.
no, I haven't seen that, but that's very interesting because a realtor told me just about an hour and a half ago that they have a deal that's ready to close and it's a short sale, and of course the short sales are the ones that take months and months and months
Yeah.
and months. Like we all call a normal sale, we say it's a short sale, no, and then we say, oh, it's gonna be a quick sale.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyhow, they're after months and months and months of everybody finally getting everything approved and ready to close the deal, the seller got notification from B of A that said, oh, that $475,000 second that you have, that you're upside down on, well, we'll cancel that for you.
Wow.
They're canceling the second, which makes him underwater. And so now he's not underwater, now he doesn't want to go through with the sale, and nobody knows what's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
Except the
Well, that's
lawyers
interesting.
will start making money. But there's an indication that B of A is one of the big 5 and one of the ones that was forced to try to help people out from the most of the loans they got from Countrywide. So here's an indication that they are trying to work to save houses from going into foreclosure or short sales.
And this is one of the reasons why most real estate experts are predicting no second wave of foreclosures, and that the so-called shadow inventory is not going to be dumped on the market because of reasons like this. There's an awful lot of banks are coming in with new programs like, quite frankly, relief of debt.
Well, in that case, though,
Cancellation
they
debt.
must have had the first and the second.
I'm not sure
Probably.
that they probably
did in that case, yeah. But I
Because
guess in
otherwise
theory,
it wouldn't benefit
It would
them.
exactly, but potentially though, if you have a very large first, they could just get rid of some of the debt
That
on
was
the first.
the idea I thought from the government initially which would make sense. Let's get something that makes sense that banks will lose less
Less.
money than they would if it went into foreclosure.
Right.
And,
So
so maybe actually after all this time, then actually finding plans that make sense all the way around.
well, and foreclosure is not inexpensive. It's cheap, and it involves a lot of different processes, and there's costs, and certainly the cost of the homeowner losing their home. So we talked a few weeks ago about how Chase was sending out letters unilaterally restructuring their loans and
So
lowering
they were being
interest rates.
they were being proactive. They weren't waiting for
Exactly,
people to
right.
come back.
Forced by the government.
Well, they're forced by the government, yeah.
Oh,
to do
okay.
a certain percentage
Right, it's
of
all
their loans.
political, right?
Yes.
Politically motivated, certainly, but not necessarily in a bad way. Because again, if it prevents people from being kicked out of their homes, that's not a bad thing. Of course, if you're a real estate investor waiting for more foreclosure inventory,
Then it
that's
is,
not
sure.
good news.
Yeah.
But again, hey, let's be
But it helps.
socially conscious a
Yeah,
little bit here.
Well, it's funny. Years ago, my mom got a letter from whoever her first mortgage was, but to be proactive. But in that case, interest rates had gone up so much, and her interest rate was so low. They said, "Why don't you pay off your loan?"
Oh.
Oh, back when when interest rates were 12 and some
Yeah,
people had
yeah,
4.75.
You only
Yeah.
have 6% interest. Why don't you pay that off? We'll even give you a new pen if you pay it off early.
Oh, gosh.
All right, guys. Tell you what, we're going to take a short break here. Next week, though, believe it or not, we're actually going to have another special trivia contest where the winner is going to receive a 2-night stay at the lovely Glen Ellen Inn,
Like that.
including 2 dinners and a getaway. Imagine this: a getaway to the wine country is the perfect way to relax this winter. The Glen Ellen Inn Oyster Grill and Martini Bar is the perfect place for a romantic meal or holiday party with friends and family. Make a night of it and stay at the Glen Ellen Inn Secret Cottages. GlenEllenInn.com. Check them out. Okay, the second commercial break. Again, the trivia theme is, where did they come from? We all know Babe Ruth was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the Yankees, right? But which team did Ruth start with? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. The website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. And it was not the Cleveland Spiders, by the way. That was Cy Young. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. We all know Babe Ruth was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the Yankees. But what team did Ruth start with? And it also was not the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. Make sure, call 888.
There was.
Oh, there's lots of weird teams. Yeah, the Louisville Colonels, the Cleveland Spiders, all kinds of crazy things. Okay. The Brooklyn Bridegrooms, and then they were the Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers, and then they shortened it to the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, but none of those answers are correct. Okay. This is a normal team.
Interesting trivia.
Okay, call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, your email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your information for us, 1 letter at a time. And we'll be right back. Hey, so nobody knows that one, huh?
Cleveland Indians.
No.
Baltimore.
Yes.
He
Baltimore
was a
Orioles.
Baltimore boy. So
Really?
Oh, okay.
That's where he started off, yes.
Good call, Robert.
Very good.
Awesome, dude.
Is he
Brian,
in the
we're
mix
here
in
to
St.
Joe
Louis
Montana.
anywhere?
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
It's the Montana Joes.
Is he in the St. Louis, by any chance, mix somewhere along the line?
Did he coached the Boston Braves afterward.
Maybe.
So they were the Trolley Dodgers?
Yeah, Brooklyn
Wow.
Trolley Dodgers. Because that's how they got the name Dodgers. Because people.
So there really were people called trolley dodgers.
Yeah.
And what were trolley dodgers? Why were they called trolley dodgers?
Because the cable cars
Yeah.
in Brooklyn. People,
Trolley.
if you watch old films, people just
It's
didn't care about
like
it.
the
Just
old
they
films
constantly
of-
dodged them to get across the street.
Market Street.
Yeah.
People running across the trolleys.
So trolley dodgers were like jaywalking, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Because you wonder,
But they would have to run, so they would be fast on their feet and agile.
Yeah.
Oh.
So because you think okay, how would like the Brooklyn or the early Brooklyn Dodgers became Los Angeles Dodgers? What does that mean? We're playing dodgeball? No,
Dodgers, that's great. So trolley dodgers.
trolley
Wow.
Dodgers.
That's good
They
trivia.
run and skirt to the side.
Wow.
That's fun.
And
I
the
like
bridegrooms,
baseball.
that was the bridegrooms.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. Isn't that funny? Yeah, those kind of little stupid things.
Well, baseball's an amazing game.
There's so much fun history about it.
Yes.
Well, the thing I think that's really cool about it is that the game really hasn't changed that much.
No,
A lot of football's changed because football used to be more like rugby, and then finally someone said, "Hey, why don't I throw the ball instead of just running it?" Basketball's changed because the talent is
24-second rule and 3 points and all that.
Yeah, but also the talent. Like someone like Babe Ruth probably could play today, but I don't think anybody from the 40s could play basketball today.
Or well, maybe football.
In football, you can get like a Bronco Nagurski can still play,
Yeah.
you know, but not that many, right? But basketball, they're so much taller, so much faster,
So
and
much
everything,
more
right?
agile, yeah.
So much change. Baseball's not, you know, except for steroids and stuff, it's not that much different. You know, you still got the 90 feet. I mean, they changed a few things, like the World Series used to be the best out of 9.
Oh, did
Now,
it?
yeah, now it's best out of 7.
But
I was just reading about the infield fly rule was enacted in 1903. Because as I'm watching baseball and I'm learning more about it, they'll say something and I'll go, I don't know what that is. I'll Google it. So,
Yeah.
Things like
I'll bet
pitching
you,
from the stretch. I didn't even know that pitchers pitch differently when there's people
Oh,
on
you didn't know
base.
that?
No, I didn't know what that meant.
They have to divert their attention.
People who
partially.
don't know
Yeah.
baseball think it's the stupidest, easiest sport in the world. My wife thinks it's just some guy throwing a ball and they're all standing there waiting to catch it, and they have no. She was completely flabbergasted that there was strategy, different
yeah.
pitches.
yeah.
Oh,
The
and
catcher
then-
calls the pitch. Why? And all that other stuff.
And then the catcher's looking at the dugout, and the
Yeah.
manager's telling the
Yeah.
catcher what
And
to
a hit
do.
and run versus a run and hit.
I agree
You
with you.
know?
I have a big argument about that. Everybody else is saying there's no difference.
Between run and hit and hit and run.
Yeah, and I said, yes, there is.
There is, yeah. And what was the other thing? You got your headphones on. You're supposed to take them off during break.
If you would,
You're
thank you.
in big
Right.
trouble.
Oh, see, you're much more subtle than.
Thank you.
He's all.
Okay.
But the dimensions are such that when you bobble the ball for a second, everything is so close all the time.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about that to me. That's what's really cool about it. There's something else too that. Oh, I'll bet it was like Tinker's to Everett's chance, but you said 1903, 1908, 1903.
It was I
the
just.
infield fly rule. Because some guy
That's the
figured it
last
out.
rule I looked up.
Spawn,
Why?
insane, and
Why?
pray for rain.
What's that?
Spawn, insane, and pray for rain. Just had two good pitchers.
Oh,
Warren Spahn
Yes,
and
which
Johnny Sane, and then pray for rain so that they could do it again.
yeah. What was the other? Merkel, Fred Merkel, his boner.
Merkel's boner.
Merkel's boner. You know what that was?
No, I don't.
That was back in the New York Giants World Series, the first one. Idiot can't remember the rule, but he gets the winning base hit
Yeah.
and says, "Oh, well, the run's scored, so I don't even need to run to first base." And then the ball gets all lost, and they go find the ball, and then they went ahead and just tagged first base, and they go,
Yeah.
"Well, technically, you're out."
Man, that didn't count.
And there was a game last year that Bochy got the pitcher kicked out, or there was something where the other team, the manager went out to the mound, talked to the
That was
pitcher,
All-Star
stepped
game.
off the mound.
And then turned around and say something else,
Was
and
it the
Bochy
All-Star
said,
game?
"Hey,
Yes, it
that's
was the All-Star game. And in fact, that single play,
Won the game.
basically, what ended up happening, because the new pitcher came in and messed up, and that's why the Giants were, that was in 2010, that's why the Giants were the home team it's amazing how that progression.
All right."
You guys ready?
Yep.
We're going to email thing?
Yeah.
I better burp now before I do it on the air.
Cough, hack.
Excuse
Want to do it
Well,
again? I will put it on the air.
me. Yeah. Okay, and away we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hoff of Pacific Private Money and Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage. You can tell the players without a scorecard. Okay, now our trivia question for the second commercial break was: we all know Babe Ruth was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the Yankees, but what team did Babe Ruth start with?
Well, I'm a Baltimore boy, and so I think that probably Babe Ruth came from the Baltimore Orioles.
That
since
is
he was a
correct.
Baltimore boy himself.
Well
very,
done.
very good. Not the Baltimore Ravens.
No,
I didn't have the Ravens back then.
It was the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, that's true. I was a big Johnny Unitas fan.
I'm still enjoying what you talked about. The Dodgers, name Dodgers came from the Brooklyn
Trolley Dodgers, because the people used to
Trolley
dodge
We were
the
talking
trolleys.
about off the air about what was a trolley Dodger? I guess a jaywalker at that time. Huh?
Yeah, that's true.
Huh.
And I guess if they got hit, they were
fleet-footed trolley Dodger.
yes.
Sounds like a bird.
And I guess they weren't the Brooklyn roadkill. I guess they were able to get successful in avoiding it. Okay, we're going to get right into email time here. Mark, the email we received for you was, do you charge a fee for investing in your deeds of trust?
No.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
You have to explain that to people.
So at Pacific Private Money, we're a hard money, also known as private money lender based in Marin County, and we make loans largely to real estate investors who can't get loans from banks. And those loans are just like a bank loan. They're secured by real estate. They're mostly first deeds of trust. Oftentimes they're purchase money first deeds of trust. They're funded by private individuals. So we've got actually quite a few, well over 100 private lenders in our database that are kind of our go-to people. They're Bay Area residents who have savings, and they like investing in loans secured by real estate. So they're basically funding a financial instrument, and it's known as in investing circles as trust deed investing. So what effectively trust deed investing really is you're funding a note secured by a instrument known as a deed of trust, which is really a mortgage. California's a deed of trust state. In California, they don't do mortgages, although people still refer to them as mortgages.
They're virtually the same.
They're virtually virtually the same. So you're funding a loan that's secured by a mortgage on California property, and the question was, is there a fee for that? And what's really great, I think, for investors who take advantage of the ability to earn anywhere from 8 to 10% on average on their savings when they invest in a trust deed secured loan, is that it is a no-load investment. So at least it is for us. We do not charge our investors anything to invest in that loan, and in fact, we collect a wire fee because the way our investors invest in a trust deed is they actually wire the money to the title company after the borrower has already signed all the loan docs. And in fact, our trust deed investors' names are on those notes and deeds of trust. So you become the lender, or your IRA, if you're using your IRA to fund the loan, your IRA would be named on the note and the deed of trust. And so we create the loan documents, we originate the loan, as it's called, and we do that because we're licensed real estate brokers in California. We're able to do that. And then once the borrower goes in, signs the loan documents, the title company says, hey, we're ready for the funds, have your lender wire the funds. Our lender then wires the funds directly from their account to the title company. The title company records the deed of trust, and the money is dispersed to escrow. So it's a very straightforward transaction that's done. It mirrors how a bank loan with B of A or Wells Fargo or RPM Mortgage would be done. It's just the difference is the money comes from private individuals.
And I remember back in the 70s, even the 60s, when people were buying and investing in real estate, the banks, and there were no mortgage banks, it was just banks, they would never lend more than 80% of the value of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were companies like yourself at the time who would lend more. I mean, I had friends who were investing in buying and remodeling, and they would go out and they would borrow money from these other companies for another 10%. And those companies were at the time charging 10 points and 10% for a 6-month loan.
To do seconds, you're talking
To do
about.
seconds.
So they'd
yes.
go 10% behind an 80% loan for
Yes,
a total of 90%
Yes, and the
financing.
market was so strong, it was appreciating 1 or 2% a month, so they felt relatively secure, especially because they were making so much money up front. But it's been a long, that industry is not a new industry.
Well, that's like the subprime industry. I mean, there is no more subprime, and that type of hard money loan doesn't really exist, at least not. I mean, there may be still people out there who might make that loan for you, but that's not.
They're more
really,
like your equity partner at that point.
Yeah, or loan shark.
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
Now, I want to quick one thing because we may get an email on this. I want to stop it ahead of time so we can answer that.
Yeah.
You mentioned purchase money, and I think a lot of people might not know what purchase money is.
Well, if you're borrowing money to purchase property, we just generally refer to it in the business as a purchase money loan, as opposed to cash out refi. So there's really 2 types of loans. Either you're borrowing the money to help you buy real estate, or you're borrowing the money against real estate that you already own. And we make both of those types of loans.
Okay.
Now, up until the banks fell apart, that the mortgage banks and the bigger banks would lend up to 100%.
Oh yeah.
All the liar loans where people would, if they could
Liar
follow the
loans.
mirror, they would get a loan, which was the
Right,
reason
the
that
stated
everything-
income liar loans.
Yes, yeah, the ninja loans they call them, no income, no assets, no job, the ninja loans.
And that's one of the reasons why.
And
the
that's why,
collapse of the market.
yeah, and when it all fell apart, and now we found that the values plummeted, and there were so many foreclosures for the first few years, and interest rates came down, that people couldn't qualify for a loan, that the IRAs and savings were earning less than 1% or virtually nothing. It made the kind of industry that you have really valuable for people to look around and get a secured investment and make, 800 times more than they could having it in the T-bill, or
Yeah, something like that.
Well, savings, of course, is incredibly important for everyone right now, and and everyone's read articles about how the us baby boomers, most of us are not on track to retire successfully. And one of the reasons is because the stock market and real estate in the last 5 years, and then interest savings rates are pathetic. So trust deed investing has become more and more popular in the last 5 years, and as Robert, you were pointing out, it's a much different business today. We're not doing seconds. We're not charging 10 points. We're really we've filled that void that the banks left when they exited the real estate investor lending market. So
They're
right now,
still secured loans. It's just
Right.
they're
and
a lot
these
more
are
conservative.
and they're on investment property versus owner occupied, because the banks right now, they've got a monopoly on owner occupied purchase loans and refi loans. I mean, that's their whole
for
industry
those
right
people that can qualify, and the qualifications for loans
That's
is
true.
really strenuous, and it's a full physical exam to go through a loan process
Oh,
right now.
That's saying it nicely.
Yeah, you're mentioning, but it's funny. People were talking about investing and how much savings you should have. Some people say 6 months. I thought, gosh, if I have 40 years worth saved up, then all okay, right? But that's a little hard to do. Okay. Well, forget that. We'll forget what I just said. That's silly. All right,
I'm still
Robert.
thinking about that.
You're still thinking about that. Of course,
Waiting for the punchline.
waiting for the punchline. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, Robert, here's the email we received for you. Nowadays, how many years tax returns do I have to show to get a loan?
Oh, well, that's, I can't say no like you did. That's not.
Yeah.
No. It, as any question in the mortgage industry, the answer is, well, that depends.
Boy, that sounds like a politician to me.
But normally, if you're salaried, you would probably want to bring in the most recent year's tax returns. But if all your income is just from W-2 employment, you don't have any outside income, then 1 year would suffice. If you're self-employed, or if you have other investments, whether they're partnerships or other corporations or other real estate, then probably the most recent 2 years tax returns.
Yeah, I thought they were always at 2 years worth.
If you're salaried and it's just W-2 income, then they always go to the IRS and have you sign a form that allows them to go to the IRS and check the last 2 or 3 years, just to make sure that, in fact, you don't have any side income and everything you're saying is accurate.
Of course, what if you have only worked for that company for about a year? Is that a little nerve-wracking?
What's amazing, and it still is true, that if you're salaried, you can be, I had clients that were salaried and they went on unemployment, they lost their job, and they stayed on unemployment for a year and a half, and they got a job with another company, and all we need to see is one paycheck, and on that one paycheck, they will base your income for a 30-year mortgage. Even if you're, say, 64 years old. If you're W-2, and also if you're W-2, the banks will give you credit for your gross income.
If you can't spend your gross.
If you're
Yeah.
self-employed, they will look at your net income.
I would think that they would at least take the gross paycheck less the taxes that you have to pay.
If you're signed up for a $150,000 a year salary, that's your salary that you're qualified on. There's
So you cheat the government out of all the taxes, but as long as you're paying your mortgage, you're okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And with that, we're going to go to our third and final trivia question commercial break. We all know Barry Bonds played with the Giants, but which team did he play for just prior to the Giants? So who traded him to Giants. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Again, check out their website, lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. We all know Barry Bonds played with the Giants, but which team did he play for just prior to the Giants? Make sure to include your name, email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your information for us one letter at a time, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm seeing a P in my crystal ball.
Give me a P. Give me
Maybe it's
Well,
for
Drake
Peoria.
High.
Peoria.
Peoria.
Sir Francis, it was the Drake Pirates.
I like that. You know, that guy's pretty good.
The
You know?
Pennsylvania Pinnacles.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they've been the Pirates.
Those were
for a
2
long
great
time.
trades. Barry Bonds to
Was
San
it a trade?
Francisco
Was it a
and
trade?
Steve Young to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Those were like the 2 best trades in my sports
And who was
lifetime.
it traded for? Young wasn't traded; it was just sold.
Yeah, he was sold, which
Yeah.
I thought, and I remember when he became available, I was like hoping and praying San Francisco would take him because I thought at the time that he might be one of the best, quarterbacks of his era.
And you were right.
And he threw more touchdown passes to
Jerry Rice.
to Jerry Rice
Yeah,
than
than
Montana.
Montana.
Than
It's
Justin.
amazing.
I'd love to watch him scramble.
I like listening to him on the air because he's a trained lawyer, and so he's very articulate. He's smart. It's fun to listen to.
Smart and attorney, that's pretty good.
I remember a few years ago thinking, oh my God, the sports teams in the Bay Area are such an F, a marvel, and the Giants are going nowhere.
Yeah. How about the
A's
A's?
are
though?
nothing. The Warriors are nothing. And look at them now; it's just
Well,
incredible.
the Warriors still, but
Well,
how about the A's?
The 49ers were nothing. They were like 2-14 or something.
Yeah.
They're at least one of the best football teams. The A's they have all the energy that the Giants did in 2010.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
They were in
Cinderella,
first
yeah.
place
Team.
one day out of the year. And it was the last day of the season. The first
That was
time
pretty
they were in
amazing.
first place.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Okay, we have we got 10 minutes and 45
We should talk about all the stuff that's going on in the Bay Area this weekend. It's amazing. It's an amazing weekend.
Oh,
Bay
with
Area
the-
sports.
The sailing.
and Blue Angels.
Blue Angels. So it's Fleet Week. Blue Angels. There's
Yeah, I cannot
there's
check.
the America's Cup going on. There's like a concert in the park in Golden Gate Park tomorrow. There's the Giants game, the A's game, the 49ers game. Oakland's not. Raiders aren't playing in town, are they, this weekend?
I don't know.
think so.
The problem is if we tell all that they're not going to listen to our show, they'll be watching and listening to
Well,
the
they'll be listening to us at
They'll be listening to the show.
1:45 tomorrow, and it's like,
yeah, for 15 minutes.
Where's
yeah.
Cal playing? Don't you get
Cal.
kicked off when Cal plays a certain
Yeah, we
time?
haven't heard that yet, though.
Yeah.
They're not sure if they can shift us around because they also have, because of elections.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Elections have to have so much, the FTC said you have, or FCC. Any other business stuff to muddle over?
what did we not get to that we were talking a little
Yeah,
bit about
right.
earlier? We were talking. Well, I had a long conversation this morning with someone about the mortgage industry and how the banks have really won out in all of this, Dodd-Frank and other regulations. They really just destroyed, they being the government and the banks, kind of destroyed the independent mortgage broker.
Well, we when we first had to take the first test to get our licenses back on,
Yeah.
the RPM hired a guy who had worked for the government in creating legislation, and he started out by saying, "I got to tell you guys, basically Congress wants to get rid of mortgage brokers
Yeah.
because they
Well,
felt
they have,
like that
for the most
most of the bad loans and the fraudulent loans were not by the banks but were from
Well, think about it. The brokers got paid their commission and they're out to the next deal.
But
Yeah.
it turns out that a lot of the people that work for Washington Mutual and some of the other banks had incentives to churn.
Right, countrywide, and then you got Barney Frank who helped pass legislation that forced the banks to make loans that didn't make any sense, and then they go and they pass the Dodd-Frank, which after they create the problem, then they create
So
a bunch
that-
of regulations to solve the problem, which really did nothing more than destroy an industry and put hundreds of thousands of mortgage loan originators out of work. It just makes you want to beat up a politician.
But, well,
It's so aggravating.
Do you remember when you said you went to that one seminar and the guy asked ahead of time, how many of you do single family
Right.
and private, personal residences? And then, okay, and now I'm gonna ask you that question after I give you all this stuff and not a single
Right.
hand went up.
Not a single, no, you're right. Then even private money lenders whose core business used to make seconds to homeowners
Oh,
who didn't have good credit but had equity. Now you
Beneficial.
can't even make those
Yeah,
loans,
yeah.
So you can, but again, they're regulated now.
Yeah.
So
What to do is
stupid.
buy the house from the guy and then sell it back and, it's Congress mortgage stuff. Okay. So do you want to get into the,
Yeah.
Mark, share your frustration. Okay, ready? Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Robert Chip. When we cut to the third and final trivia question commercial break, we asked this question. We all know Barry Bonds played with the Giants, but which team did he play for just prior to the Giants?
Well, he came to Sir Francis Drake
Pirates.
area from the Pittsburgh
From the
Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates. That is correct.
That's right. I went to Drake High School, and our mascot was the Pirates.
There you go. Mark, you were off air, kind of giving us some frustration about the
Sharing a little
market.
frustration.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a
He
45.
was sharing.
I was sharing it. Yeah, I had a 45-minute conversation this morning with a client, actually a lender client, who comes from the formerly a mortgage broker, and we were talking about some of the the news this week that we talked about just a little bit earlier, one of the earlier segments about how the banking industry is just now a whole new set, like 200 new regulations are coming on board, and this is after several years of new banking regulations getting piled on to the industry as a result of the subprime meltdown. And one of the biggest fallouts of this whole mess is that you've got the independent mortgage broker, the independent loan originator has largely been shut out of the business. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people, formerly, independent mortgage loan originators that are out of a job right now because it seems to have all now been consolidated to within the banks and a few mortgage bankers. And it's really, and what's amazing about it is if you kind of go back in history, you got Barney Frank, who, along with a number of other politicians, kind of forced the banks in the late 90s through legislation and other means to start making certain types of loans that they were avoiding making. And as a
That's what you said before, and I didn't understand that.
Well, because everybody needs to own a house.
So the government was pushing
The government was
100% financing.
No. The government was pushing banks to approve more loans to people who may not have the means to necessarily repay those loans or even afford those loans. It was basically social engineering.
Try to find a way for people that might be too poor to be able to afford a house to get them to be a homeowner, so they would join in the middle class.
It was essentially to ease the credit restrictions, so that they made it so that whole easy credit, fog a mirror, get a mortgage in the 2000s. That all started as a result of political pressure on the banks to be able to increase home affordability. The goal was to increase the percentage of people
Yeah,
who
but then
own
the
homes.
price of the houses went up so
The
much.
Well, of
price
course
the
it did.
houses
I mean,
and the banks, I don't know that they needed government pressure because they were making fortunes off of.
Well, of
the-
course
of
they
the loans
didn't need
were
government
putting
pressure.
out.
I mean,
And they mostly were sold to the government, so the banks didn't have the liability of the bad loans they were putting out.
It's all Bush's fault.
well, this started under Clinton. This started under Clinton, so this goes way back. And so you have all of a sudden you got easy money, and easy money turned into fueling price appreciation, and then all of a sudden everybody's owning homes. But really I didn't want to get too much into the detail of what happened in terms of the housing bubble, but post bubble, then you got that same guy, Barney Frank, who with Senator Dodd passes all this new legislation that is, basically after the horses left the barn, we're going to fix this problem and make sure it never happens again. Well, really, all they did was pass a ton of new regulations, which, among other things, ended up really destroying the independent mortgage loan originator. So that
Well, not just that, it hurt the homeowners because there are people who really needed to get loans to save their house, and now they weren't allowed to.
well, that's just it. They made it very, very difficult to make loans to homeowners. They they killed the subprime industry and passed a number of new laws to prevent predatory lending. But it's the law of unintended consequences that generally comes into effect, and that is in their zeal to protect the homeowner from predatory lenders, what they've really done is they've destroyed and removed consumer choice. So
Throw out the baby with the bathwater.
absolutely. And so now you if you're looking to have a home to get a home loan, for example, RPM is one of the few independents out there remaining.
Well, we're a mortgage bank and
Yeah.
not a broker. And when I first joined RPM in the '90s, they were just a broker. And
Yeah.
as this started coming down, they were prescient enough to realize that they
Hey.
needed to exist. They would have to be a mortgage bank also, and not
Yeah.
just a broker.
Where do they get their money?
They have to have a bunch of money so that they can show that they're stable enough, and then they can get lines of credit from. Before the bubble burst, it was Wall Street, and they got all their money from Shears and Lehman from Wall Street. But and that's starting again. Otherwise, they will get their loans and they will sell them to different banks, Chase or GMAC, or primarily to Fannie and Freddie.
So great weekend for sports in the Bay Area. Now that our show is starting to wind down, we didn't want to tell people too early to.
That means
Oh.
not in. That means
Wind down for the day.
For the day, yeah.
For the day, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
don't worry,
No,
fans.
we'll
We're
be-
still on.
We'll be back next week. But yeah, we got the two baseball teams, the A's and the Giants in the playoffs this evening. We got 49ers about to start. We got America's Cup. They're out there sailing
Well,
around.
I like what Robert was saying off air is that the A's, the only time that they led,
That's
the
the-
They
division
were
was
in first
they were
place
first
for one day of the year, and that was the
That was
last,
important day.
the last day of the year.
What
That
were
was
they, third
great
day? They were,
game.
13 games back.
That was a record.
Yeah.
There were 9 games out with 5 days left, I think.
Well, you had
Five games out with 9 days left.
Well, you had the
That sounds
Brooklyn
right.
Yeah.
in 1951. The Giants came back against
Yeah.
the Dodgers, and it was just some ridiculous comeback that they had. But poor Josh Hamilton, man, he's just going to be living that thing
That
down for a
was
long
amazing.
time.
Yeah.
I think that's going to affect them throughout the entire playoffs.
Yeah, and then you got the Fleet Week. You got the Blue Angels and
Well, they have one day of the playoffs, which was by airtime is already over. So.
Well, that's
The
true,
Texans,
but
yes.
I mean, just in general.
Oh yeah, through the whole off season, yes.
But like you said, you got the Blue Angels.
Blue Angels. There's a free concert going on in Golden Gate Park, and it's a great weekend
America's Cup on the Bay.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
amazing.
all kinds of stuff.
So traffic-wise, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I would not be trying to go into the city right now if I were you.
Okay. Now, did the Raiders? Did we figure out if the Raiders?
I don't
playing?
think
I
they're
don't
playing.
know the Raiders. I think they're away.
Niners are home, Giants are home, A's are home.
Wow, that's a lot of
That's a lot.
busyness going on.
Yes,
yes.
Sunday is going to be sitting on the couch watching sports all day. I'm going to get fat and lazy on Sunday and just really enjoy this little Bay Area moment.
How's your family doing with that? Are they okay with it?
Sunday is Daddy Day.
Oh, lucky! I'm gonna come to your house.
Well, and luckily it's not. Well, who knows what the weather will be, but it's not probably going to be 100 degrees like it was last week.
Well, actually, there is
So,
TiVo too, and I'm a big fan. I may actually TiVo some sports. And go.
That's kind of hard. For me. That's kind of hard to do.
Well, you
every
can't
time,
listen to the radio. That's the
Yes.
trick.
Yeah.
Or go into a public place where they're talking about. Oh,
Don't tell me! Don't tell me!
I know.
but that when you go watch the replay on TV and you've TiVoed it, I know this happened to me a bunch with tennis, and just that 1 second where you turn on the TV before you can get to the TV, and they say,
You have to hit the mute
And-
button really quick.
Yeah.
they say,
Wait, did you say you TiVo tennis?
Yes.
Oh, you're not well.
That's almost like TiVoing hockey or curling. Or,
Oh no,
I'm
curling.
teasing. I mean, tennis is a fun sport.
When you
It's-
TiVo a football game, I mean, you can just blast blast through that. It's great.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
with
yeah.
commercials and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and even the time between plays. I mean, just you just fast forward. Between,
That's
it's
true.
just amazing.
Then you
get to-
miss all the talk of all the announcements.
Well, some of those guys are.
But unless you're listening to us, it's not interesting, right?
Yeah.
All right. Any last words before we have to cut out here, guys?
Well,
Well, it's going to be interesting few next 30 days with the election coming up. There's going to be a lot of political
And
maneuvering.
gas
and
prices and all
gas
that.
prices are
the
heading
uncertainty is really stunning right now. There's so much uncertainty in the financial and other markets based on who's going to win and what's going to happen with tax planning and this whole fiscal cliff everybody keeps talking about. So yeah, it's really going to be interesting.
Well, I'm hoping next week to get an attorney on who knows about taxes. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about taxes.
There's going to be big changes in taxes at the end of the year, huge changes that for estate planning. I mean, in fact, people really should be aware and
Tell
start
people-
making plans.
You heard it first on the Best of Investing,
Right,
right?
and so you've got the unemployment rate that went down, good for Obama. You've got stocks are up, good for Obama. Gas prices about to hit $5 a gallon,
Bad
not
for
so
Obama.
good for Obama. So all kinds of interesting.
The
things
stock
going on.
market's at the highest it's been in 4 years. And interest rates are the lowest, and the government's saying they'll stay
I
down
hate
that way for a
$5
long
a gallon
time.
gas.
Oh, that's
Makes me
terrible.
mad.
Me too. Okay, thoughts for the day. When sign makers go on strike, is there anything written on their signs? And my dad taught me how to pick out ripe avocados. He said they should be a bit soft. So if I found a hard one, I kept throwing it on the ground until it softened up. I still can't figure out why they didn't taste good. And with those words of wisdom, we ask you to tune in, or invite you, I guess, to tune in to the Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long.
Wow.
Just in time.
Just in time.
Isn't time? I think the A's are playing at Detroit.